Looks like we're about to get started here any second.
Oh, they started. I think John is still stubbornly clinging to late Brinstar, right?
Yeah, John always goes for late Brinstar. Scotty's known for going for early Brinstar.
Well, he does now anyway. He used to do late Brinstar. Switched. I think John is just happy to get out of Brinstar as soon as possible. That's why he does what he does. I was the one who put John in losers. Good times. John actually had an extremely good race versus me. I think that was actually his. I think that's his current PB, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe he like beat it by a little bit, but it was his PB at the time, I think.
Yeah, and Paulsmore was the person who pushed Scotty into losers.
John has a slight lead. Well, we shouldn't be talking about leads already. It's very, very volatile. Brinstar.
Yeah, I mean, how they do against this upcoming worm with the double could decide the early Brinstar lead. And of course, drops from the Zoomers.
I think John got sufficiently annoyed at that small health drop and decided to move on. Interesting. Oh, he got the double. Good, good. He wisely decides to wait for drops because he took a bunch of damage and he did not have a lot of missiles. I completely agree with that decision. Scotty, of course, continued because he got the double right away. His health was fine, his missiles were fine. And wow, I'm kind of surprised. That did not cost John a lot of time grabbing drops. No, but I think that was some really strong. There was some really good adaptation from John. He did a good job there. I think he might have messed up there. Is he gonna mess up this high move because of that? Yep.
Yeah, he's dipping.
He fell down again. That's unfortunate. With this strat, you wanna jump over to the platform and lure the bugs from the first hive, and then move on to the second hive and get the bugs there as well, and then kind of make a circle. What John did was he didn't jump to the platform and he ended up falling down, and he thought he could lure enough bugs from simply shooting from below, but it didn't happen. And he ran into one bug, and then he ran into another bug, and it's kind of a chain reaction. It happens. Meanwhile, Scotty did very well.
Oh, John takes fall in an inconvenient location.
That's very unfortunate, this one. Oh, but this is typical John. He often complains about bad stunts. Let's not count him out at all. Even with a 340 bombs time. Wow.
So Scotty probably doesn't know this, but the bomb block with the missile tank after bombs, you can just jump up there, and if you fail to bomb jump up there the first time, you don't need to bomb jump the second time.
Is that an inside joke?
Scotty, when he failed the bomb jump up to the platform, he decided to bomb jump again.
Yeah, I felt like it wasn't the first time I heard that.
Since Scotty's doing the early Brinstar cleanup, it'll be fairly difficult to tell exactly who's ahead until the two routes reconvene when we make it to Torian later on.
I think we have a fairly good estimate at this point. It's about 2 minutes difference. Maybe a little more than that, maybe a little less, it's hard to tell. But roughly the 2 minutes difference. So if one of them, like, if John looks to be 3 minutes ahead, then he's obviously ahead, but we'll see. But yes, the routes converge once they get to Torian. And if you've watched any of the tournament races before this, you'll know that ammo is paramount at this point, so John is looking for as much ammo as possible. While Scotty's kind of indifferent because he does this route where he gets 2 more missile tanks early on, so he'll have plenty of ammo. I think John looks fine for missile. He should absolutely not be worried at all. And I haven't really been paying attention to Scotty, but he was practicing a very, very hard bomb jump before. I don't think he'll do it in the race, so let's see. Did John just shoot a missile at the dome? I think he did. For some reason. Probably a mistake. You don't really want to waste missiles like that.
So what's really cool about this run is there really aren't very many glitches utilized. The big one, honestly, at the Ombres, which is really the only one we use, is a ice clip we use in Ridley, which is the reason why we get Ice Beam early rather than after fighting Ridley.
Scotty had a small issue with the bomb jump, but he quickly got back on track, so it was no big deal. The thing I hate most about the early Brimstone route is actually that backtrack for the missile that Scotty just did. It feels kind of inorganic somehow. I think late Brimstone flows really well overall. It's kind of a shame that it ends up being a kind of shaky route because of that whole ammo thing, and it's probably slower overall as well since you cannot skip the same amount of refills that you can with early Brimstone. But it feels. I really think it's the better feeling route because later on when they get back to Brinstar, John has to of course pick up those multiple items he didn't pick up that Scotty picked up just now, and even that cleanup part of Brinstar just feels really good. That's definitely what I used to like about playing Brinstar. It feels really good as a route.
I definitely enjoy it because having high jump, screw attack, it just makes that climbing much easier, and obviously you don't need perfect bomb jumping since
you definitely don't, but it just flows really well overall. John is really low on missiles because he did not get a lot of acid worm drops. That's gonna cost him some time most likely. Wonder how he deals with it. I imagine he'll just farm a couple of extra pipe bombs, we'll say.
Worst case scenario, he could take the gamble and farm at the giant side hopper.
I mean, he can farm because it doesn't respawn.
That's true.
But he can get he gets a chance at some drops. Oh no, John is only getting health drops. That's annoying. More health drops. Poor John.
That's gonna cost him.
Takes a dive as well. I'm surprised Scotty only has 35 missiles. That seems low with early Brinstar route. Not that it matters, because even low for the early Brinstar route is still more than enough for killing Acid Worm. But suppose he kills it and he doesn't drop anything, then he's kind of in the same situation as John is right now. John got 2 drops on the giant side hopper, so he's not too bad off. You need 10 to kill these. He has 9, so not a huge deal or anything.
And I believe 10 power beam shots equals 1 missile.
You're right. See, that's really unfortunate what Scotty did, because if you miss the wall jump initially and that enemy is moving in that direction, then it will snipe your second attempt at the wall jump as well. And that's exactly what happened. And I've had that happen numerous times. And I just knew it would happen as soon as he missed the first wall jump.
I wonder if John will go for the JBJ strats.
Who knows? Looks like it. The rip is in the way. That sucks. So Scotty's actually low on missiles. He got 2 drops, so he's 1 missile short. Not a huge deal or anything, but if he doesn't get any drops, then yeah, he'll be 1 missile short.
I would absolutely just go to the side hopper. But he got it. He got the double missile, so that's nice.
He plays it extremely safe for 1 missile. I'm not sure I would have done that. But I mean, okay, he has the missiles now. It's not bad. Because farming those bugs that he ended up farming there is actually kind of slow.
So now that John is done refilling, he's going to be heading to Kraid. Kraid is considered in the 100% route to be the hardest boss in the game. An optimal Kraid can be done in 2 cycles of him opening his mouth, but I would say the average for most runners would be 3 cycles.
Depends who you ask. Kraid did not used to be considered a hard boss. A lot of the old school runners have been really played comparatively. And would absolutely feel bad about it 3 round. I think that's changed for the most part. And John is not having a lot of luck here. He's actually kind of low on missiles, but he should, as long as he gets a couple of drops, it's fine. Scotty has a lot of issues with that JBJ. I wonder if either runner is pleased with their performance so far. Because they kind of both made dumb mistakes.
I'm also wondering if either runner is listening to our stream.
Maybe. They might. I do that sometimes. I think at this point, Scotty's still slightly ahead by 10-15 seconds.
Let's see how his Kraid goes. The optimal 2 cycle.
Yeah, Scotty knows what to do. Good on him.
That'll put him even further in the lead ahead of John.
It's a good thing for John that he don't really need missiles after Kraid because he's very low.
Yeah, there aren't really any missile doors between him and either high jump or screw attack, depending on which refill he chooses to go for.
If you're doing the route that Scotty is doing, you can choose to skip both refills in North End, and you actually want missiles as many as possible because you won't get a missile refill like at all. So if you do that, you'll end up just barely having enough missiles for. So sort of the important point is that you have enough missiles for when you get to Imago.
Conserving health becomes a lot more important, though.
Sorry, what?
Conserving health becomes a lot more important if you're skipping both heals.
Yes, it does. But I also expect both of these to be just fine in the heated rooms. It's mostly about whether you make mistakes in the heated rooms. I can't imagine it going too wrong for both of these players.
So the expected finish time for a 100% run, I guess for these two specific runners, should be somewhere around a 112, 113.
If they keep up some of these mistakes, I think it's more likely to be a 113. We'll see.
We also still have the majority of the most difficult tricks yet to come.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think John is particularly annoyed at the beginning, so he probably feels more comfortable at this point. But I mean, if you have a shaky start, I don't know about anyone else, but like if I have a particularly bad start in a speedrun, like those mistakes will just like keep piling on top of one another, and it'll just be worse and worse.
Yeah, I always reset in Brinstar whenever I get anything super wrong, because I feel like if I'm not getting Brinstar right, it might affect the rest of my run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see it being easy to become flustered if you make mistakes. Pretty sure Scotty is in the lead right now. He's overall been playing a little better. I would estimate about 30 seconds. Not based on looking at the time, just based on how well they've been playing for the most part.
So shortly after Scotty grabs this unknown item here, he's going to go for a strat that most people, I want to say only he goes for. He's going to try to do Criteria JBJ to help save him a few seconds, grabbing the super missile.
Is he really going to go for that?
He always goes for it in his runs now.
Even in races?
Yes.
Wow, well, I'm looking forward to that. Nice.
And he gets it.
Yeah, that's one of the absolute best time savers we have at this point in 100% that a lot of people don't use. Something like 4 or 5 seconds that you saved up by doing this. It's also incredibly hard.
It's much harder than it looks, because you can't do a normal jump when you're in Shine Spark form, or else you'll just use the Shine Spark. So you have to do a spin jump to lay the bomb, and that can be super difficult.
I think you can jump straight up under certain circumstances. I forget specifically what it is, but generally, yeah, you will activate the jump if you press the A button in a neutral pose. Because I think he showed it to, I think he showed how he does it to some other people, and I think he like made a neutral jump from a crouch or something like that. I forget what it was. I should know mechanics better than this, but I don't. It's embarrassing.
There are always some mechanics that are harder to grasp than others, even from my point of view and your point of view.
It's not so much about grasping it as I've just never had to consider it, because it's generally not something you have to worry about ever. Every single Shine Spark you make in this game, if you have to jump with a speed boost, there's no issue doing a spin jump in any place really, but obviously it's an issue for that specific trick.
Right. Scotty opts to grab that missile he just passed later on.
Oh, does he grab it later? That's nice.
I believe he uses a diagonal spark to grab it later.
He also kind of, I think he was trying for the shine spark there, but he just did a speed jump. Well, I mean, whatever. Because you can do a shine spark through the room before ice beam. The kicker is, I think you can either do it really high or you can do it through the lava. The lava obviously ends up sapping some of your health. And if he's trying to skip both refills, I'm not sure he would in the race, but if he's trying to do that, then like that's really bad news.
Let's see if Giant gets the giant missile.
I don't think he's been missing that.
No, he has not been missing it lately.
I understand the meme, but I don't think he's been missing that at all in any of his races. And he gets the shine break. That's nice. Saving that half second.
John said that ever since he swapped to his new controller, he's been getting that shine break every time.
Scotty came at kind of a bad angle for that bomb jump, so he had to redo it. I've seen him miss a few JBJs. I understand, of course, doing them because they save a little bit of time in certain circumstances, like that one. But if he misses them once in a while, then I'm not sure it's really worth it for him. Could just beat the tournament. Maybe he does really well on his own. Does John get the refill glitch? He does. Even with that really ghetto setup, he got it. Good job, John. Scotty doesn't go for the shine break. If he's not confident in it, then yeah, it's a wise decision not to go for it. Because if you stop too early, it's really bad news. It costs a lot of time.
So, the only reason any of the runners go for screw attack heal is because of the aforementioned refill glitch, where if you set up, or similar to what John did, you can actually start the refill while you're collecting the item, but you have to be basically where the refill would start, and that can be hard. If you miss the setup for the refill glitch, then it's a lot slower to take screw attack heal, since you have a lot more health to heal due to going through a heated room.
Scotty, what are you doing? So neither of the runners opt to do the guaranteed method of getting money spot. Probably because it's hard. So under certain circumstances, you can save the speed boost where Scotty was a moment ago and shine spot through the next room. The annoying thing about that is that you have to pass the two Nova enemies, the one that cling to the wall. And depending on that pattern, like ideally, the easy way of doing it is that you only have to shoot one of them with a missile, and then like, yeah, the other one is far away and you don't have to worry about it. But sometimes both of them are in the way. The way you can beat that pattern is if you shoot an ice beam shot down and then like do the tiniest of spin jumps to screw attack through both of them. That's kind of hard though, and not a lot of people do it, and it doesn't leave you a lot of time for the shine spot. So, not surprised they don't go for it. But that's like a guaranteed method of doing the money spot that you can go for. John, what is that fight? My god. He missed a lot of shots. I can't imagine he's too happy with that.
Yeah. So now that they've entered Ridley, they will be leaving immediately. Because Ridley is not the place to be.
Scotty also gets the quick kill on the bug thing. The idea is that you want to hit with all 4 bombs, but since the caterpillar stops the moment it's hit by 1 bomb, it's kind of tricky to place all 4 bombs in the same spot with the right timing, so all of them detonate under him. But you got it.
John's now going to attempt to kill the Imago Bee in 1 cycle by getting successfully a visual cue.
Yes. Is Scotty really bad at this fight too? My god. I thought he was better than this.
Oh wow, he didn't even get all of them on the right side.
Oh. Maybe that's the new school thing. The new school thing is to be bad at Imago. I don't know. It's just funny how like a different batch of runners have different issues, it feels like. I was talking earlier about how crate is not much of a problem for old school runners, even back then it feels like. But it kind of is for some people now. And I want to say, like, 2 years back, I can't think of anyone who had too many issues with Cocoon at all. But now I just saw both runners do this, and I'm like, wow.
So what John just did is the only glitch we ever use in the entire game.
I guess it depends on your definition of glitch. But yeah. It's a really cool thing though. Like we don't really have any glitches in the run itself. So the fact that we have like sort of a cool little thing, and it saves like 8 seconds total or something like that. But it's still cool.
Nice Imago spark by Scotty.
Yeah, I guess I missed it on John's side. I think he missed it, right?
Yeah, he missed it.
Ah, that's unfortunate. But that particular spark is difficult, mostly because you don't have a lot of time to get down and refill it, your speed boost. And you have to like hit a missile block that's in kind of an awkward spot. And that's usually what people struggle with when they do that spark. Is John gonna do diagonal spark? He is. That's so risky.
It's also not... Oh my gosh.
I think John just had a massive brain fart there. He jumped. Yeah, I think he is so focused on having to morph that he kind of forgot that he needed a speed booster, and so like he jumped to morph. I think that's what happened. Like that would be my guess, because that's a really unusual mistake to make. Did
Now
Scotty
John's doing
mess something up?
John's doing the 4-frame jump.
4 frames sometimes. It's usually 3 frames. It's a pretty hard challenge considering, like, pretty much always as a player you're gonna have to do that. It's technically easier if you don't have high jump, but most players are gonna have high jump. Oh, Scotty, what are you doing?
Once you get the trick once or twice, you can kind of just use a visual cue to know when to jump.
Or do you use a visual cue? I don't think I've seen anyone do that.
I know, I usually use a visual cue just when I get to a certain location.
Alright, cool. I'm actually not so sure how people gauge that jump in general. I just sort of have a feeling for when to jump at this point.
Oh, gotta get the backup strats.
He like fell all the way down, made it back up, then almost fell down again, and still made it. Good job. I think
Yeah, I
Scotty
can't-
is ahead at this point still, but some of these mistakes from both people are just so strange.
John has to take the ball cannon.
Yeah, that's not good either.
So with 9 supers, Ridley's going to be pretty much dead instantly. So I suggest you not blink.
So as trivial as the Ridley fight is in 100%, there are still some things you should watch out for. You want to align yourself kind of in a spot where you're kind of knocked back and forth.
Oh, Scotty falling!
Nice, Scotty. Anyway, you want to align yourself in a spot where you're kind of knocked back and forth by him, but you also need to make sure you don't hit a fireball with a super, which can both kind of happen as you're running into him, but also as you're being knocked back, because you gain a little bit of height, so you might gain enough height that one of the supers hit the fireball.
Didn't even know that recovery Scotty did was even possible.
I guess you didn't watch the 80% tournament then, because that definitely happened to at least one person.
I did not watch the
in the 80% tournament, and it's actually easier to do that back up in 80% because you don't have high jump. I'm surprised Scotty would go for that though. Like, there's an easier backup in 100%. And
I just used speed booster.
exactly, it's like marginally slower, but it's obviously a hell of a lot easier. And gambling on getting that thing, if you haven't practiced it a lot, is kind of a ballsy move. I see John has 4 supers. He's probably fine. Let's see if he gets 3 drops. Right
Scotty
there.
does not get the jump extend like John did.
Nice going, John. Good luck. Scotty's actually been looking a little shaky for a lot of area, so it should be good. He's probably still in the lead, but it should be good.
We'll know in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
I don't think either of them are super happy about this run, for sure. We get to hear all about it at the end of the race when we talk to both runners.
I have a feeling that if neither runner is watching the stream, they're going to be surprised if they win. So now John has to go pick up all of those items he decided not to go for during his opening part of the game. Whereas Scotty just has to get Brinstar Super and then head straight to Long Beam.
See, this is what I was talking about earlier. I really, really like Winstar cleanup when you do late Winstar. It feels really nice to do. The climb John is doing right now is actually like, feels really good for some reason. And just this whole area, it flows really well when you have all the power-ups. As for minor disadvantages, you end up using one more super missile with this route because you have to shoot a super missile block on the way back.
Scotty only has 8 supers at the moment, so he'll have 1 less than John entering Torian.
Well, he might get a couple of drops though, but we'll see.
The odds are low.
I wonder what the odds are now. I don't want to check. I don't think they're that bad though. But yeah, overall they're pretty low. We'll get to see who's in the lead in about a minute.
It looks like Scotty's in the lead slightly.
Yeah, by about 20-30 seconds, I'd estimate.
Torian can definitely make a big impact on that, depending on Super RNG.
I actually think Torian is very consistent in 100% for the most part. You're right. You're absolutely right that Super RNG definitely does matter, especially when they're this close. But I want to say it should only be like plus minus. Well, maybe like you lose 10 seconds at most or something like that. Maybe they'll play bad though. There's always that. There's always that. Yeah, I think Scott has. Sorry, I think John has a roughly 30 seconds disadvantage. 35.
Yeah, Scotty entered Torian at 36.19.
Scotty has a personal best run where he messes up one of the tricks that we'll see first thing cleanup.
Looks hopefully like 32 seconds apart.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
He messed that trick up in 2 different ways.
Mm-hmm. So he's probably a little nervous about it, right? I imagine so. Once you have a certain history with a trick, you're always going to have it in the back of your mind. Scotty. Well done, Scotty. You got it in the end.
I imagine Scotty was a little flustered there.
He got grabbed again. That's not good at all. It was kind of a cool little sequence because like he aimed in like every single direction and step ahead all the time. I think Scotty's been getting decent RNG. It doesn't look like John is
John
particularly
hasn't
lucky.
doing anything.
Look at also, like just as I say that, I think there were like 3 supers on screen for Scotty, and there's another. It's another batch. Jeez.
So 8 supers for Mother Brain is perfect since you can use 4 to shatter the glass and 1 along with 4 regular missiles to force cycle her.
Scotty's getting, John is getting really bad RNG. So I was saying that super RNG probably doesn't matter that much, but if it's that big of a difference, then it probably will end up costing full 10 seconds. And John, okay, that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate for John. That was a really good Mother Lane fight for Scotty. It's all good.
Last Metroid finally gave John a super.
He, like, I don't know if you saw, but before he bombed the floor, there were like 3 supers on screen, I think, and he definitely like only grabbed 1 of them. He's probably not too happy about that. That went really smooth for John as well, though. Just barely finishes off Mother Brain before he gets stabbed in the back by a Red Winker.
It's really cool that Mother Brain actually can charge your speed booster, so you can Shine Spark immediately following the defeat.
Yeah, the game uses a specific type of wall or something like that for both Motherbrain and Kraid. So you can charge a speed booster against them. I mean, for Kraid, it's not going to matter generally because you speed booster is behind Kraid, right? But it's actually possible to get behind Kraid and get speed boosted before killing him.
How would you do that?
You have to do a very, very specific bomb jump over him.
And it's not a gray door? It's not a gray door?
There's no door after Kraid. It's just bomb blocks.
Oh, right. Interestingly to note, I believe Kraid is just... You can actually leave Kraid without getting the speed booster.
Yes, you can. But you can also get speed boosted without killing Kraid. If you really want to. There's no point. But you can do that if you want. It's a really hard trick, but you can do it.
Now we get to see if any of the runners will be shameful today by grabbing the map.
I'm kind of surprised Scotty does a jump extend over the map. I don't think it really did anything there. Because he's really worried about getting the map. Also, Scotty heals. Can't blame him. He's far ahead.
I think it's right in any racing situation to heal.
I mean, I think John should skip it personally right now. I don't know if he will, but I think he should. Yeah, there you go, John. Alright, that's...
Way to be.
That's absolutely the right move if he wants to win. Because the current lead that Scotty has is pretty convincing. Like, I'm not saying it couldn't switch even if they both healed, but he wants us to gain as much time as possible. And so skipping the heal was definitely the way to go because the refill in 100% is very slow because you have so many energy tanks. I don't know specifically how much it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 5 to 7 seconds.
I want to say it's closer to 10 seconds immediately, but by not healing, it makes the Charlie fight a little slower since you can't shoot out yourself to reduce the time until the next phase.
It is a pretty slow heal. I wouldn't be surprised if it is 10 seconds. Did you see if Scotty did fast touch sights? I don't think he did. I think he actually messed it up a little bit. Maybe I did watch it. Nice, John gets it.
Got it.
John is not going down without a fight.
John forgets to jump out of that room to save 8 frames.
I wonder if either of the contestants are pressing up after every tunnel. I don't think they are. I'm kind of watching, and I don't think they are. At least, I don't think Scotty is. So this is one of those minor time saves that some people have been aware of for a long time. But I guess it got forgotten at some point. But as every time you exit a crawl space as Zero Suit Samus, she does a little crouch on the floor before she goes up. And so if you're just holding one direction, that her getting out of the crouch animation takes a little while. But if you press up right before it, you save a couple of frames. Maybe John is going for it. It's such a minor difference that it's actually pretty hard to tell for the most part. And it looks like John messed up Sam's strat a little bit there at the end.
Got it. He doesn't need to enter the save point.
Yeah, Scotty's definitely not pressing up. I don't think. Oh, it looked like that definitely looked like John tried at least. I think he's aware of it. Yeah, he's definitely pressing up. I don't know if he's timing it correctly, but he's aware of it now at least. Scotty takes a fall there. That's a particularly annoying fall.
So in a moment, we'll have the RNG fight called the Ruins Test, or as we like to call him, Charlie.
Okay, John, don't scare me. So overall, that was a really clean section for John. He's definitely gained on Scotty at this point. He's still pretty far behind, but it was absolutely a good move to not refill. And risk his life for that extra time save.
Scotty can still mess up Ruins E-Tank.
Oh, they can mess up a lot of things. I'd say it's very unlikely that there are going to be huge mistakes, but we'll see.
Alright, so just by judging from both of these runners who will be fighting, I guess John will be fighting Charlie in a moment, you'll be able to tell basically that this fight is RNG just on, because how Charlie works is you have to wait for the symbol to appear on the circle, and if he doesn't want to, he can just have it never really show up. And you can reduce the time, in theory, it would take to show up by shooting yourself. But in John's case, since he didn't refill, he can only do that once.
I wonder if he's even going to do it once, because it's kind of scary when you're at low health. Scotty missed a shot, but ultimately a decent fight. John is not having a lot of luck right now.
John does not opt to shoot out Charlie.
Oh, that's kind of a scary situation. John doesn't shoot, which is probably wise considering the awful pattern he got in. They both missed a shot, but alright fight for both of them. I think Scotty still has a 30 seconds lead or something like that. So this is the trick I was talking about that Scotty messed up in his own PB. Hopefully it won't go wrong for him this time. Nah, he looks fine. That's good.
It's about 30 seconds, maybe a little more.
Yeah, it's a little more. Which is perhaps not so surprising considering John got a kind of a unlucky fight. Scotty did the Shine Spark sequence perfectly. Now the pressure is on John to repeat that.
I imagine Scotty's feeling a little better after that.
It's always nice to get a particularly costly trick out of the way. It's not over until it's over. Like the lead change kept happening with Dragon Fangs versus John, just like over and over in the race. there was a lot of mess ups at the end. Whether we'll see a repeat of that is anyone's guess, but it's very possible.
Oh, Scotty, you should have charged your beam.
Why, just for the visual effect? So we had a sort of pointless discussion in the Zero Mission Discord a couple of days ago about how long does it take to refill? Because people were discussing whether or not they should refill at high jump or at screw attack. It's obviously not really a pointless discussion, but it's pointless in the sense that there are better options, like just skipping all the refills. But anyway, what has happened here is that Scotty has taken damage, and they had to take a mandatory refill in a little bit. So if you want to talk about those really tiny time savers, it's possible that John wins a little time on the refill, because taking damage there actually, like, if you're at full health for that refill, it's noticeably faster.
Health restores at a significantly slower pace than either missiles or supers does.
Especially when you're close to full. I think people found out that it's based on what percentage of health you're missing. So something like that. And Scotty just took a little bit of extra damage because he messed up a space jump. Space jumping well is one of those kind of underappreciated skills that you have to be good at in Zero Mission 100%. There are a lot of space jumps, and getting optimal space jump timing is pretty hard. There are a lot of really good runners who probably end up wasting several seconds just because they are not doing space jumps optimally. And I noticed a significant change in time when I switched up the way I did space jumps at one point. And like, you could easily tell it was faster because as you see in the room John is just in, the pirates always behave in the same way. So at the very beginning of that room, you have to do like a space jump up top, and like, if you're fast, you can beat the pirate, so you don't have to jump over him, or he won't ever reach the top of that particular pillar. It's just one of those visual indicators you can use to tell whether or not you are doing good space jumps or not. And space jump is really fast in this game, unlike, say, Super Metroid or Fusion. You can jump again pretty fast comparatively.
Yeah, especially in Super, where wall jumping is more optimal than space jumping where viable.
Right.
However, the difference is in Zero Mission, when you get space jump, it actually deactivates your ability to wall jump.
Yeah, in Super Metroid you can still do both, of course.
So now that they have power bombs, Barrier will be leaving Chozodia shortly.
Oh my god, Scotty. So the room Scotty is doing right now is actually very tricky in terms of inputs. You have to do a lot of things at once when you enter the room, and Scotty just, like, I think he messed up like 3 different things, and he ended up getting shot a couple of times too. So since I spent so much time talking about it, please notice how the refill is kind of slow for Scotty, and if John doesn't take damage, he is going to have a slightly faster one. I mean, honestly, at this point you want those really tiny time savers, and you want as many of them as possible, because there is a lot of those in Zero Mission.
Zero Mission is all about those small saves you get everywhere with movement.
See how fast that save was for John? How fast that refill was, wasn't it? And he jumped through the door this time, so that's good. Oh,
Scotty always scares me whenever he goes for that space boost.
Yeah, I think he said he has a specific setup for it. So, I mean, I can't really blame him for going for it. But, yeah, it is scary because we haven't really been talking a lot about it, and that's probably because we've seen it so many times in this tournament. But this is a one-time trick, specifically for the real-time route of this game. And it's important you get it first try. Wow, John, good job. He also did it.
Is it faster to space boost than it is to just run?
No, it's not. It's the same speed, I'm pretty sure.
Because I know Shine Spark faster.
You move faster when Shine Sparking, yes. For that particular trick, it's not faster to Shine Spark because every Shine Spark has like a startup animation, which is pretty slow. But it's a lot safer.
It has a startup animation. It also has an end animation when you hit something.
Right. Neither of them got a power bomb drop. What this means is basically that they have to do a particularly long Shine Spark sequence that starts as soon as they enter the room of water that Scotty has had going for a while now. Hopefully he doesn't drop it. Nah, it looks good. If they had gotten a power bomb drop from one of the Gimas where they picked up a super missile, they would have been able to kind of bypass part of this whole chain because they can blow up some power bomb blocks. It's a pretty low chance of getting a power bomb drop though. Oh
John
no, John
messed up the chain, so he'll have to go all the way back and start from scratch. That probably sealed the nail in the coffin.
I think you're right. Because you also have to go through a lot of doors, and doors are like just particularly slow.
That's the last major trick in the game that can lose you a lot of time.
Well, I mean, there are optional tricks that can lose you a lot of time.
Yeah, like Norfair Space Boost.
You said it earlier that Scotty is the one to go for these sort of tricks. So
yeah. He also attempts Escape Boost.
Oh, that's weird, because that's not really faster.
Optimally, if you do it quote-unquote perfectly, it saves like a third of a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's the swag strat.
Well, all those optional strats that are a little harder but save time. I'm sure we'll see John go for them at this point. Whether Scotty goes for them is anyone's guess.
Most likely he will.
I mean, can you really call yourself a winner if you don't do Space Jump E-Tank? Well, maybe.
In my book, Space Jump E-Tank is the only thing that can redeem the map of shame.
I think I've actually done Shine Spark for the last E-Tank in like all of my tournament runs because I've been ahead, so I did not feel like going for it. So I shouldn't be talking, but yeah.
I actually thought Scotty was a bit high for that ball spark. No one got the map of shame, Ross.
So the game is designed in such a way that there are minor shortcuts between areas. Scotty is taking the one from Crate to Norfair. I don't think I realized that shortcut was a thing until I started learning 100%. Some of them are kind of hidden fairly well, I want to say. I had the same issue with Fusion's. Fusion has like a couple of tubes that connect the sectors, I didn't know about those either until I started really learning 100% for that game. I don't think
Those are a little more obvious in Fusion than this one.
some of them are hidden pretty well, as I recall.
Yeah, the one from Sector 4 to Sector 2, I would not have known about.
Right.
Scotty messes it up.
Oh, did he? I wonder if he's going for it a second time.
Yeah, he didn't even enter the room.
Well, it's better than dropping the space boost pretty early, I suppose.
Scotty is a healthy lead on John.
John accidentally fires a missile instead of ray beam. That's unfortunate.
I learned this morning that you don't want to shine spark after grabbing the missile if you haven't grabbed the super. In the room Scotty just completed.
Why is that?
Because you won't grab the super on the way back.
I think that depends on your spacing, doesn't it? I think you can grab it with a shine spark.
Well, if you shine spark immediately after grabbing the missile.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, man, it's looking kind of grim for John, not gonna lie.
I'm not sure where John can come back at this point. Maybe if Scotty finds himself unable to get Criteria Missile, which isn't that hard, or if he forgets an item, but that's totally out of the question.
They have to be a little aware of power bomb management. By default, you'll have enough power bombs, but maybe if he accidentally wastes one, I'm kind of reaching it. I don't think Scotty's gonna have any issues.
Looks like John picked up an extra power bomb.
Extra power bombs have a couple of uses that save frames for the most part. They're nice to have.
John needs what he can get at this point.
Uh-huh. Well, see, we're not just cheering for the underdog, we're also cheering for holy...
Scotty bonks! I'm not sure what he was doing there.
I think he just started it a bit late, and then... yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, as I was saying, we're not just rooting for the underdog, we're also hoping for a close race. We've seen some really close races throughout this tournament. The last one we had, I think, ended with a... what was it? 2 seconds? Was it 2 seconds?
I think it was 2.
Well, I mean, if Scotty keeps making mistakes like that, we might see a change.
It'll take a lot of them, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a pretty uncharacteristic mistake. I don't think we'll see too many of those, if I am to be quite honest.
So now Scotty's going to grab the one item that I'm sure all runners of this category would love to skip, if given the option. It is so out of the way. It's like 2 to 3 minutes to go grab this item. It's a shame because you pass by this power bomb tank like twice, but due to a lack of power bombs, you can't grab it.
Honestly though, putting aside Scotty's little mishap a moment ago, the movement right now is really good. I'm very impressed. Haven't seen too many mistakes at all. Scotty had an interesting sequence there. Normally when you enter that room, I want to say you usually have the alarm on, but I guess he got spotted in the previous room and did not, rather he did leave one of the pirates alive. So he ended up getting, having to roll into one of the pirates in the tunnel. Not that it really matters, I mean of course it loses a couple of frames, but...
It pushes him back a couple of frames, yeah. However, a couple frames at this point won't really make a difference. Alright, so now that both have gotten the most out of the way out of the game, they'll both be heading back to the ship. You're supposed to shoot the missile up, not diagonally, Scotty.
I think you're moving, when you're moving your aim to straight up, there's like a frame where it's pointing diagonally, I think. Pretty sure. And it's probably what happened there.
Yeah. I feel like it also goes through whatever horizontal direction you were facing.
There are about 5 or 6 minutes left of this race, and I'm kind of giving up hope for John here. Scotty's playing too well. Unless he goes for and royally butchers Space Jump E-Tank, I don't think John has a chance of catching up.
He will need to royally butcher it twice or 3 times, I think, and John will need to go for it and get it.
I'm actually not sure how much time it really loses if you have to like reload the room and everything, but it should probably close the gap by quite a bit. At this point, Scotty has John too. They have every single item but one, and that's the one we usually refer to when we talk about doing Space Jump E-Tank. You have to cross some tripwires, and the easy way of doing that is just shine sparking across. That's a little bit slower than just space jumping across. But space jumping across is particularly tricky because the tripwires are kind of close to one another and you're gonna have to jump in between them. Also, you have to kind of go under some barriers, so you have to like kind of dip low in your space jump a little bit. So it's a tricky E-Tank to grab.
Space Jump E-Tank is one of the few examples where the intended strat is actually faster than the commonly used speedrun strat.
Are you saying the space jump is the intended strat?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think that's the case. Like, I'm pretty sure the developers assume people would giant spike across, honestly. But a lot of people didn't. That's the thing. Every time people talk about that tank, they're always like, "Oh, that was so hard to get," and a lot of them, I'm sure, just tried to space jump across because they were not familiar with how Shine Spark works in particular. And it's not immediately obvious, so I can't really blame people. But Scotty got it first try, and John gets the chance at it, and he also gets it. Very happy both of them got it.
Wow, Scotty was running out of supers.
Yeah, that does not look like a convincing. It's a good thing it's 100%, so he has plenty of ammo, but that was not great. Unfortunately, not enough for John to catch up, I don't think. At all. Not at all. John gets fireballs. I personally hate getting fireballs. I think it's really...
Both struggling with the missile count.
I think both of them are struggling just
survive the
to...
super onslaught.
I think both of them are struggling just to hit in. But John tries to redeem himself.
John...
Is he gonna get it? Is he gonna get it? Hey, he got it.
Is that the first time we've seen this tournament?
Probably, yeah. Good job. If you're behind, if you know you're behind, you know you can't win, why wouldn't you go for that? It's cool. It's a neat little graphical glitch.
Do you know why that happens?
Presumably the game changes something when it goes into countdown mode, and that does something for the missile. I don't know if you've seen the...
Scotty nails escape boost.
Nice. I don't know if you've seen... you know how you can do the glitch at Charlie where you can move around during the cutscene?
And the plasma shots?
Yeah, if you shoot your pistol, and like there's a scene change there where you switch to your suit, and so when you come back and you're in the suit, the pistol shot is suddenly like this pixelated mess instead. So I assume it's a similar issue.
I think that might just be the basic plasma beam shot.
I don't think it is. It's something different.
I've never seen the basic plasma beam shot, so I imagine I could be wrong.
You don't actually see plasma beam alone in this game. You can with hacks, but you don't see it normally.
So originally in development, you actually were meant to have the ability to turn items off.
Right.
But that was cut.
I assume it was cut because there's literally no reason to ever disable anything. I guess there's a couple of tricks that are easier with it, but generally there's like no real reason. So
disabling high jump might be useful.
Right.
Disabling space jump to gain access to wall jumps.
So Scotty ends with a very respectable 1:12.29, and John is roughly 40-something seconds behind at 1:13.13. They're probably not... I don't think either of them are happy with the times, but they're very respectable times regardless.
Hopefully both will be willing to come hang out for a few minutes.
I wonder what really cost John in the end. I think he had a lot of just minor mistakes early on, and he had less so later on. I feel like Scotty just did better early on, and that really like sealed the deal. I think he had a 40-second lead already around Torian, and then it kind of went back and forth in endgame a little bit, but they both played reasonably well for the most part.
Well, remember, John messed up Ming Lee's spark.
Oh, he did actually. You would think that would cost him more time, but I guess, like, besides that, perhaps John's endgame was just ever so slightly better than Scotty's. I know Scotty also did a giant spot in criteria that he bombed for some reason, but I don't think that cost him nearly as much time as the giant spot sequence that John messed up.
I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to speak to Scotty and John about their runs.
It's locked for me.
There you go.
Hey John, hey Scotty.
Hello?
How do you, we'll start with John. How do you think your run went?
I was actually mostly happy with the late game, but I don't actually have words for everything before Torian. It was
I was just talking about how I think both of you probably had a similar endgame in terms of quality, but Scotty kind of sealed the deal early on.
yeah, my early. I knew right out of the gate I was going to be playing catch up with a 340 bombs.
What?
What happened? I think I fell in Hive Room a couple times actually. I think that's what it was.
I was really hoping that wasn't going to happen to me.
Yeah, like I had a pretty terrible Brinstar, a pretty terrible Kraid, a pretty solid Norfair, a pretty bad Ridley.
Can I ask you about one thing in Ridley? For the bottom right puzzle room, why did you jump and morph?
It's not really,
That's what I was going to ask.
I don't think it. Excuse me. I cannot say that I have an answer for that. I did that, and then I just kind of stood around thinking, something's not right here.
Yeah, okay, so it's just a brain thought.
Yeah, that was just a complete brain fart.
Alright.
But yeah.
What about you, Scotty? How was your run?
I felt pretty good about it. The only part that I wasn't happy with were Ridley and some parts of cleanup, like missing Norfair space boost.
So I have a question for you, Scotty. What was that in criteria bonking when trying to get the missile?
I'm not entirely sure what happened. Yeah, that happened. I don't know how that happened though. Like, I guess I just didn't do the inputs for Shine Sparking at the top of the jump.
Yeah, that's an interesting mistake. I can't say I've heard of anyone making that one before.
Me neither.
You both made some interesting mistakes throughout the run, but at the end of Torian, I think John was roughly 40 seconds behind, and that's ultimately what the race ended up. Roughly the difference between you here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of threw away some time at the end, but.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you both did.
It definitely helped that you skipped heal though for Suitless.
Yeah, I figured. I checked the thumbnail and saw that I was probably 30 to 40 seconds behind at that going into Suitless, and said, okay, may as well make it a really interesting thing to watch. Put on a little bit of tension.
It was the right choice to make, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I needed, with that time, I needed every second I could get.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that just due to my lack of skill at this level, but it was definitely cool to see you do it. Also, it was definitely cool to see you get the Ridley missile glitch.
Yeah, I probably cost myself about a second doing that, but I figured at that point.
Ridley missile glitch?
Yeah, I got the sprite glitch from if you can keep one of Mecha Ridley's missiles on screen.
Oh, Mecha Ridley. Oh, right.
Yeah. But what, you don't get Ridley shooting missiles at you?
No, I was shooting missiles at Ridley.
Excuse me.
I ran out of supers in that fight.
I mean, you usually... Oh, hey, me too, actually.
I think John hit one more super than Scotty did.
Yeah, I only had to shoot 3 or 4 missiles at the end. So,
I tanked way too many in that fight.
Same. It was just not a...
Really strange. Not at all what either of us normally do.
Yeah, that was just not a very good run for me. I'm not so much sad that I lost as I am sad that I lost like that.
Eh.
So, Scotty, you have a bit of a burden on you right now. You see, as far as GBA Metroids and tournaments, what we've had so far for grand finals is Me versus Baltimore in the Fusion 80% one. And the exact same thing for the Metroid Zero Mission 80% one. So now you're the only thing stopping the 3-beat.
That's a pretty heavy burden.
It
I
is.
imagine you want
No, it's
revenge.
not.
I do want revenge against Baltimore.
Sub Baltimore is free, though. Don't worry about it.
I have heard. I've experienced it. But not in the
what they
race.
Polesmore has been forfeiting from a lot of races lately, I've been hearing.
Oh, man. Excuse me.
I'd be very sad if that happened in losers finals, but it did happen in. Excuse me. It did happen in winners finals. So hopefully no repeat.
That's it.
But yeah,
Anything can happen.
let's not talk about Money Spark Room.
All right. Yeah, I think Polesmore ended up dying in the bottom heater room in Norfair.
He died
didn't,
in the Money
actually.
Spark Room.
He died in the shaft to Money Spark.
Right, because he ended up going back. That's right.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, if you had to go all the way back to refill at that point, then you probably lost enough time that it's very hard to make it back at that point.
I don't even know the optimal way to do that.
I think someone was saying go to way beam is best at that point and just refill.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure.
Second it, but he got interrupted by Baltimore dying.
Yeah, it's a tough situation just because of you have no idea what to do. It doesn't happen very
Yes.
often.
I haven't had time to think about it, and I'm still like not completely certain.
Right. All right. Well, good race, both of you. Thank you very much for being in the tournament, and congrats, John, on finishing 4th place behind some of the big hitters. Actually, I think you were ranked 5th for this tournament.
Yeah.
So finishing
was
4th
I?
is.
Yeah, I guess I was. I don't remember.
Finishing 4th is like overachieving a little bit, but you beat some of the old fan favorites, I would say, like Dragon Fangs and Mobius.
Yeah. I had some good races, so I'm happy with most of the results.
Glad to hear it.
Just not this one so much.
And of course, the Scotty. Good luck in your upcoming race against Polesmore.
That'll be fun.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's very hit and miss with Polesmore sometimes.
Hopefully it goes better than this run did.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
I'm gonna rewatch this VOD, but
Yeah, thank you very much for the race, and thank you very much, people on Speed Gaming, for watching. So we'll have Lucis finals, hopefully not in the too distant future, we'll say, and then the grand finals probably very soon after, we'll say.
I hope so.
yep. Should be some good races there.
Up and coming, it looks like we have a Donkey Kong Country race in a bit, so you might want to stick around for that in half an hour.